All right, let's jump right in. Welcome to today's Explainer, Finance Without the Fancy. Today we're taking something that literally controls almost every single part of our lives. We're stripping away all that annoying financial jargon and we're getting down to the absolute core of it. We're talking about money. But honestly, by the time we finish this lesson, you're going to realize that money isn't at all what you think it is.
To kick things off, I've got our trademark finance challenge for you. I want you to keep this specific question in the back of your mind as we go through today's explainer. Here it is. Why can a simple piece of paper buy a cup of coffee? I mean, it sounds almost too obvious, right? But seriously, really think about it. It's just a decorated piece of paper. So why does the barista so happily hand over a freshly brewed coffee in exchange for it? Hold on to your thoughts, because I absolutely guarantee you'll have a crystal clear answer to this before we wrap up today.
Now, to get to that answer, let's do a quick thought experiment. Imagine you wake up tomorrow morning. Your alarm goes off, you grab your phone, open your banking app, but instead of your normal balance, you see a terrifying number, 0. Or 0.00. So you panic, right? You grab your debit card, run to the store, but boom, your card declines. You try handing over some random cash you found in a drawer, but the cashier just flat out rejects it. But here's the crazy catch. The supermarkets, they're still completely packed with food. The physical world hasn't changed one bit.
So I really have to ask you, what actually vanished overnight? Think about it. If the food is still sitting right there, the people are still there, the shops are still open, what went missing? Would food still have any value? Would people even bother showing up to work? Would businesses just cease to exist? You know, we spend our entire lives stressing over earning and spending cash, yet most of us have never stopped to ask this one simple, foundational question. What actually is money?
Well, to answer that, let's leave our modern world behind for a second. Imagine you're stranded on an isolated island with maybe 100 other people. I want to introduce you to 3 of our islanders, and you're actually going to be seeing a lot of them in our explainers. First up, we've got Sam. Sam is the island's fisherman. Then there's Aisha. She's an incredibly skilled shoemaker. And finally, Leo, the guy who builds the huts. Now, on this island, nobody has any concept of money. It simply doesn't exist yet. So, how do they get what they need? Well, at first, they do what humans did for a very long time. They barter.
Let's look at how that actually plays out in real life. Let's say Sam the fisherman has been walking around barefoot all day, and his feet are killing him. He spots Aisha the shoemaker. So Sam walks right up to Aisha and says, "Hey, I'll trade you this fish I just caught for a new pair of shoes." Sounds fair enough, right? He's got something of value, and she has something of value. Win-win. But here is exactly where the reality of the barter system hits a massive brick wall. Aisha looks at Sam and says, "Yeah, I don't need fish. I actually ate fish yesterday." Sam, who is getting pretty desperate for those shoes, tries to negotiate. He's like, "Well, what if I cut it in half?" And Aisha, just staring at this mutilated fish, sighs and says, "Well, now you've just ruined dinner." It's a funny little exchange, sure, but it brilliantly illustrates a massive systemic problem. If the person who has what you want doesn't actually want what you have, trade completely freezes. So the crucial takeaway here is that bartering just creates absolute chaos. Think about it. Sam has fish, but he needs shoes. Aisha the shoemaker has shoes, but she actually wants wood to build a fire. Meanwhile, Leo the builder has wood, but maybe he's craving coconuts. You get this incredibly messy, frustrating web of people just desperately trying to perfectly match up their needs. And what if your fish goes rotten before you find someone who actually wants it? Or how do you trade half a cow for a small basket of apples without completely losing out on the deal? The islanders are totally exhausted, and they desperately need a fix.
That is exactly when someone on the island has a total light bulb moment. What if we all just pick an object that we agree to value? Imagine the islanders all agree to use shells. Not because a shell is, inherently delicious or keeps you warm at night, but simply because everyone in the community accepts that these shells will be super useful for future trades. Aisha takes the shells from Sam, knowing full well she can easily hand those exact same shells to Leo for wood tomorrow. With that single collective agreement, the islanders just invented money.
Now, let's fast forward and see how this builds into our modern world. We started in that first era with those shells. Then, societies figured out how to melt metals, so we leveled up to coins. Eventually, carrying around heavy bags of metal got super annoying, which led us straight to paper notes. Fast forward a bit more, and paper turned into sleek plastic debit cards, which then moved right inside our smartphones. And today, you can literally buy a whole week of groceries just by scanning a quick QR code.
Now, what is really fascinating here is this one simple fact. Money completely changed its physical appearance,
but its jobs stayed exactly the same. Whether it's a beautiful seashell on a beach or a piece of invisible digital code zooming through the air, it is serving the exact same purpose that it served for Sam, Aisha, and Leo. It is simply a universally agreed-upon medium of exchange.
To really hammer this concept home, picture a real R200 banknote right next to a piece of Monopoly money. If you look at them physically, chemically, they're actually incredibly similar. They're both just pieces of printed paper with some cool colors and numbers stamped on them. But if you try to confidently hand the cashier Monopoly money for your groceries, yeah, you are absolutely getting laughed out of the store.
And this brilliantly illustrates our single biggest lesson today. Money is not valuable because it's paper. It is entirely valuable because everyone believes someone else will accept it. That R200 note works because you have absolute faith that the grocery store will take it. And the grocery store takes it because they have absolute faith they can use it to pay their suppliers or cover their rent. That collective belief, that is the invisible magic holding the entire economy together.
Think of money as a giant sturdy bridge. On one side, you have your contribution. That's the hard work you do, the hours you put in, the skills you provide to society. On the far side is what you want to receive back. You know, your morning coffee, a house, a holiday, or an education. Money is simply the sturdy bridge that safely carries the value of your hard work right over to the things you need to actually live your life. Without that bridge, you're stuck trying to trade your highly specific skills for a cup of coffee, which, as we already saw with Sam and Aisha, ends in total disaster.
So, after taking this whole journey from the island right to your modern wallet, everything points to this one simple definition. Money is something people widely accept in exchange for goods and services. See, no complicated, boring textbook wording required. It is simply an accepted tool of exchange.
All right, let's do a quick recap so you can walk away and confidently explain this whole thing to a friend. Here are your 3 core takeaways. First, money totally solves the absolute chaos and the everyday problems of bartering. You no longer need to find someone who specifically wants your random half a fish. Second, and honestly most importantly, money only works because people trust it. And third, because of that amazing trust, money makes trade infinitely easier, which is exactly what allows us to build the complex, amazing world we live in today.
So as we wrap up today's lesson, I want you to completely let go of all those physical illusions of wealth. Money isn't paper, it isn't coins. It isn't even that glowing number sitting on your bank account screen. All of those things are just physical representations.
At its absolute core, money is trust. Which brings us right back to where we started and our finance challenge. Why can a piece of paper buy a cup of coffee? Well, you know the answer now. It has absolutely nothing to do with the paper itself. That piece of paper can buy you a coffee purely because society universally trusts its value. You trust it, the barista trusts it, and the coffee farmer trusts it. It is just one giant unbroken chain of human belief.
But man, this leads us to an even more fascinating and, frankly, slightly controversial question. If money is really just based on trust, how does it actually get its value in the first place? And more importantly, what on earth happens when that trust starts to break? Well, that is exactly what we are going to unpack in our next explainer. Why does money have value? You definitely won't want to miss that one.
If this explainer helped you understand finance without all the fancy jargon, consider subscribing and joining us for the rest of this journey. Learn it, understand it, use it. I will see you in the next lesson.